Hey everybody, Heather here. So today we're going to be coloring this super cute Tobie and his puppy image by Some Odd Girl. And here's what he looks like when he's all done. Isn't he fabulous? Very cute. So I've already stamped my image on Nina 80-pound Solar White cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'll put a link to all the supplies I used down in the description box. And also if you have a question, please leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. I'm happy to answer all your questions. So let's color. Alright, so let's start out by outlining our image, and for that I'm going to use C0, and I just go completely around my whole image, and she's got this little space between his legs that I'm just going to fill in, and then I'm just going to very quickly go all the way around him, and it just gives him a little bit of a shadow once it dries that will make him look like he's popping up off of the page just a little bit. And we'll go all the way back around over here. And if you do this first too, if you color on him and you're worried about seeing the color later, you can erase it with your colorless blender. That works out pretty good. I usually don't worry about getting it on anything because it's such a light color that after it dries you hardly see it. And back over here. Connect his shoe, and then he's got this little spot between his leg here. I'm going to do that, and he's got a little patch right here between his body that you can kind of see the background in. So let's move up here and do his skin, and for that I'm going to use E13, E11, E01, E00, E000, and for his cheeks I'm going to use R20 and R30, and this is a little bit darker than my normal skin tone, but I thought we could try it out. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my E13 first, and let's go down here and do his hand. Zoom in a little bit so I can see it. So he's got a little bit of his hand showing right next to his sleeve, so I'm going to make that the darkest, and then I'm going to very lightly do each one of his little fingers, just a little bit, and then same for this hand. I'm going to go right along the bottom of each finger and just add a little dab of that 13. Then I'm going to grab E11, and I'm just going to fill that in. Because his hands are so small that you're not going to have any left. But then I'm going to take my E01, and just to blend them and kind of lighten them a little bit, I'm going to go over those. And just like that. Then we're going to go up here and we're going to move to his face. So again, we're going to start with E13, and I want to give him a little bit of a nose. So I'm just going to take my pen, and right at the edge of his nose right here, I'm going to start, and I'm going to make me a little swirl. And like that. And I try to make it curve up so it kind of looks like it's going to connect to his eyebrow up here. So just kind of give it a little bit of a tilt. Okay, and then I'm going to turn my boy because I like to flick just a little bit. I like to lay my pin kind of sideways and flick. So I'm going to go right along the edge of his face. Like that. And I want to bring this color all the way up to the top of his hair over here. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to turn him so I can do the flicking on the other side. I'm going to turn him sideways here, so again I can lay my pin down sideways. And we're just going to flick right along the edge and up here to his little bangs, right like that. Okay. And then I want to do his neck, so let's go right this little puppy ear and add his neck, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring this line over here to his face like that. Okay, and then I'm going to grab E21 or E11, and same thing, I want to go right next to, let's start down here at his neck, and we're going to pull that, and let's work our way up here to this space. Okay, let me turn him a little bit so again I can lay my pin down and flick just a little bit better. So I'm going to bring this, there's just a little bitty patch left right there, so I'm going to do that. And then I'm just going to work my way up along this line, flicking away from it, and softening that edge. And then I want to connect the dots, so I'm going to do this side, And then I want to do the same thing over here. So let me turn my boy this way so I can lay my pin down. And we're just going to flick right along that edge. And then we also have his nose right here, so I want to go ahead and soften that just a little bit. So I'm going to go right along that edge, just a tiny dab on that. Okay. Next we're going to grab no, not that one, E01. I'm going to fill in his neck. And then I'm going to turn him again so I can do my flicking. But I want to start my flicking for this above this little puppy's ear and connect it over here. So let's flick that cheek. And we're just going to work my way up. Think of this. And work all the way along that line. And work my way back. And I'm not worried about it being blended all the way because I'm going to come back after I do his cheeks and add a little bit more color. Then you're going to grab E00 and fill in down here. Let's work our way above that eyebrow. And then he's got his eye right here, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of connect this down here so that it leaves a little bit of space. Same with this eye, he's got a little bit showing right here, so I want to kind of bring my line down so I don't have to worry about coloring that white space, because he does have some white right around his eye that we want to leave. And then E000 to fill this space in. Okay, like that. And so it looks really blotchy, but that's fine because we're going to add some cheek color and then we're going to go back and fix it. Oh, and I need to do his ears. So we'll do that too when we do that, add the cheek color. So I'm going to start with my R20 for a cheek, and I'm going to add some of that over here. So let's just go right above this little puppy's ear, or his head. And he's got that little bump there for his cheek, so I'm just going to fill that in. And then over here, same thing, I want to go from the edge and then just kind of flick that out here to fill in that little cheek a little bit. And then I'm going to take R30 to soften my edge. I think I'll take my R20 again and just darken it just a little bit more here towards this outside. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to go back. And this time I'm going to skip the E13 because that's pretty dark. So I'm going to start with my E11 first. And let's go ahead and do right up here. And I'm going to flick past where I laid it down last time. Just bring it out there a little bit further. Okay, I'm going to turn him over here so I can do this side. Because I do better at flicking when it's pulling away from me. And again, I want to go past where I laid down my color from this last time. And then I'm also going to do his little nose right here again. I'm going to go with E01, and this time I want to make sure to do on his cheek, so start down here, and then I'm going to work my way up, and again you want to pull past where you colored this color last time, and I'm brushing over the colors I already laid down, and I'm going to say I'm going to go past his eyebrow, like that, and then I'm going to turn him so I can do this side. Let's do his cheek. And I'm going to get down here where his chin is too, so I can kind of blend that little area a little bit better. Let's go up here. And bring that out to, I'd say, just where his eyebrow stops right here. And then you're going to grab E00. Oh, I forgot to do this little nose thing. So let's grab E01 again. And I want to brush over this little nose section just a little bit. Now E00. Flick right over that area. Fill that. I think I'll go right over here on this side and fill this entire section of his nose in. Like that. And then I'm going to finish it with my E000. this middle section. Let me see here what he looks like over here. Fix this eye just a little bit. And maybe go over this nose one more time, kind of soften that edge just a little tad. Okay, that's his face. So let's grab his ears. So again, I'm going to grab E13. I'm going to do inside of his ear. E11. Let's grab the little bit down here at the bottom. And let's finish the inside of this ear. And E01, I'm going to finish this side up because it's tipped down, so it's going to be a little bit darker. And then I'm going to finish this ear off with my E00. Now let's go do his eyes, and for that I'm going to use the 100 pin, BG 78, 75, 72, and 70. And I'm going to use the 100 pin on the center of his eyes, because when I stamped it, it didn't make it as dark as I would like. So I'm just going to use my pen and lightly go over that. If yours stamped perfect, that's awesome. I just didn't get enough ink, I guess, on my stamp when I stamped it, so it didn't get it as dark as I would like. So I'm going to fill that in. So now for the eye colors, I'm going to use BG 78 to start. And I'm going to go right up here to start at the top. And then 75. And then 72. And then 70 to fill it in. And I'm going to go over it a second time to make it a little bit darker. So I'm going to take my BG 78. $75. $72. And then 70 to fill it in. And we're also going to use these BG colors down here on the puppy's collar. So while we have them out, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to start with my BG 78. And let's do just a little bit down here. Like that. A little bit on that side. And then we're going to go with 75. 72. I'm going to fill this side in all the way. Let's see what we can do over here. And then 70 over the whole thing. Let's go up here and do his hair next, and for that we're going to use E25, E31, and E50. I'm going to start with my E25. Let's go ahead and do a couple of little strands down here at the bottom of where his hair is, like that. And let's get this side. And then where he's got this cute little part up here, I'm just going to take my pen, I want to go with the direction his hair is going. I'm kind of trying to keep my streaks going whatever direction that hair happens to be. It looks like it kind of flows upwards over here and down over here. So I want to bring these streaks up a little bit more. That looks pretty good for that side. And I want to add a few strands over here. So right here it looks like it kind of comes out underneath over here. So I'm going to add a couple of little strands in there. And then I want to bring his little parts he's got going. Let's go like this. And maybe like that. Okay, I'm liking that. So now I'm going to grab E31. I want to add some more color. So let's go ahead and add a couple of streaks over here. Over here. Okay, and then over here I want to bring these strands kind of across. And again, I'm trying to keep the hair kind of, my streaks going in the direction that his hair is growing, or it looks like he's got it combed. And then I'm going to fill it in with my E50. And I just go over the entire thing, fill that all the way in, like that. And then I go back with my darkest color, which is E25 again, and add in a few more streaks. Let me turn my boy a little bit here so I can just flick a little bit better. And I think I need to bring these over just a little bit. Okay, and then we better do his eyebrow. So again, let's just add a little bit of color to each of those, and then 31 to fill that in. And then I'm just going to go over the entire eyebrow with my E50 just to blend those colors together. Let's hop down here and do his pants next, and for that we're going to do B97, 95, 93, and 41. So I'm going to start with my B97, and let's go and add some shadow right next to this cute dog, and then I'm going to bring that shadow down along the back of his pants. Pull that up a little bit, and then he's got this great little knee spot. I'm going to put some color on that. And let's do these stripes over here and go down the inside of this side of his pant leg. Like that. And I think that's good. I'm going to leave it like that color like that. Next I'm going to grab my 95. And let's get some more color up here above the puppy's foot. And I'm going to brush this color out. And then I want to add a little bit to his cuff down here and to the inside of this leg. And then let's add a little bit of color to this little pocket thing. I'm going to go down all of these stripes. I'm going to add some color in here. And just work my way down to the bottom. Then I want to do a little bit along this cuff. And then let's pull this cuff around like that. And I think I'll bring these lines out from his pants just a little bit more. Okay. And then we're going to grab B93. And I'm going to fill in his fly. And then come down here and add a little bit more color along these. But I want to leave a little bit of space for my last color in there. And let's add some color to that pocket. And we'll go down the outside of that pants. And then we're going to fill it in with our B41. Okay, and then I'm going to do the whole process again. So I've grabbed my B97. '95. '93. and then 41. Let's go up here and work on his shirt next, and for that we're going to use YG03, 01, and 00. And we start with YG03, and he's got this little bitty spot of shirt showing over here, so I'm going to give that a little color. Oh, I colored it all the way in. Oh well. It was, like I said, it was a very small area. Then let's go ahead and do a little bit right here, and same for this side. And then for his undershirt, let's do right along his sleeve here. And then I'm going to go down the back of this sleeve. I'm going to do both those little creases right there. And then underneath, inside of his shirt, let's give it a little dab. Then you're going to grab YG01. And we're going to fill in this little bit a little bit. Cover that all the way up. And then do this line, and then cover that up, and then we want to go over the whole thing with our YG00. And then I'm going to go over it a second time just to darken it up a little bit. And that was YG03, and then I'm going to go with YG01. And then fill it in with my YG00. That makes it a nice bright green color. For his undershirt, let's use B01, B00, and B000. So I'm going to start with my B01. I'm going to give each side of this little section a little dab. And then he's got a little bit of undershirt in the inside showing right under his hand. I'm going to put that there. And then I just want to work my way along the bottom of his sleeve over here to the corner, and then do each of those little lines for the crease. And then B00. And then my B000 to fill it in. And I think I'll give his collar up here just a little dab maybe. Let's go down here and do his shoes next, and for that we're going to use W7, 5, 3, and 1. And then I'm going to start with my W7, and we just want to put that where we want it to be the darkest. So this shoe right here only has a little bitty left, a little spot to color, so I'm going to color in that one, and then I'm going to skip a space, and there's a little space right here. And then same for this shoe, I'm going to do this one all the way in. But for this one over here, we want to add a little bit of shadowing, so I'm going to take my W7 first, and then W5. And then I'm going to fill in that little space with W3. And then with my W1, I want to color in the accents, so each of these little lines he has over here, so like this little spot here, and this spot, and the sole. And then for the little front of his shoe, I'm just going to go along the edges and add just some shadows, and then leave a white space. Since we have the blacks out, let's go over here and work on the dog, the black parts of the dog. So again, we're going to use W7, W5, W3, and W1. Let's go ahead and start with this ear here in the back. So I'm going to take my W7 first, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shadows along the bottom. side of his ear. Clear down to right about here. Then I'm going to go with W5. W3. And then W1 to fill it in. And let's move over here to, let's do this dot on his back and his tail. So again, W7 first. And go right down the back of his back. And then I'm going to do right next to his body. And W5. W3. And W1 to fill it in. And then we're going to go up here and do his face and this other ear. So again, W7. So I'm going to start on his face dot first. And let's go ahead and bring our dark right out here even with his ear. And then for his ear, let me flip it around here. Let's do like this and bring it down here a little bit. And then W5. I'm going to flip it around here so I can do his face. And then W3. And I didn't color his eyes in, so I'm just going to go around that. And then his ear. And then I'm going to fill those in with W1. And let's give his ear a couple little wipes. Blend those colors all together. So for the brown areas, we're going to use E55, E53, and E50. I'm going to start with my E55. And let's go ahead and do the bottom of the dog first. So I'm going to take my E55, and let's give it a little bit of color underneath that collar. And I'm going to go along the back of this little dot, and down to his leg. And I'm going to go ahead and bring my circle all the way around and up to this other side. That. And I want to do in here where his legs meet. And then go down this leg. And let's do in here where his chest is, and down the back of this leg. And let's do this leg. And I better probably do a little bit underneath of here. And then I'm going to go with 53. We're just going to work our way right along those patches of color. And add some color in. And going over those lines. And then E50 to fill it in. Just rub over that line and blend those colors together. let's go up here and do his face. So again, I'm going to start with E55. Let's do underneath of his tongue and his chin. And let's go right next to his tongue and underneath of his mouth a little bit. And I'm going to work my way up and around this little dot on his face. Go like this. And I'm going to give him a little bit of a nose. So I'm going to take this color and kind of just give him a little dash there on top of his nose. And then I want to come down from his head. I'm going to get real close to his fingers, and then I'm going to brush away like this. And then I'm going to grab E53 and brush right over the top of that. Bring that color out over his nose. Go down here, we want to soften these lines. And let's add a little bit of shadow over here. And maybe a little bit underneath of his nose, like that. And then I'm going to fill the rest in with my E50. And if you color of his nose, that's not going to be any big deal because I'm going to color that black here in a minute. And so if you get color on that, that's not going to be any big thing. Let's go back down here. Color over some of this. For his tongue, let's use R22, R21, and R20. So I'm going to start with R22, and I'm going to go right next to his face and down that little line. And then I'm going to put some on the back side of his tongue. And then R21, I'm going to go right over the top, leave a little dash of white over here on this side, which I'm going to fill in with my R20. And I'm going to do the inside of his mouth. And I want to make his tongue a little bit darker, so I'm going to just do it again. So I've got R21, R22, and then 21, and then 20. For his nose, let's use W9, W7, and W5. I'm going to start with W9. I'm just going to give this side of his nose a little dab of color. And then W7, W5 to fill it in. And if you wanted, you could leave a little white spot in there, or you can take your pen afterwards and make a little white spot with your Sharpie pen. Then what does that leave us with? Oh, his tag. So for that, let's use W1 and W00. I'm going to take my W1 first and darken up this side, and my W00 for this side. I just go over the whole thing, and I want to make it a little bit darker, so I've grabbed my W1 again, and then W00 to fill it in. Here's our Tobie and his puppy all colored up. Turned out pretty good. I'm liking that darker skin tone for him. Looks awesome. And again, here's the finished card. If you'd like to get this kit, I'll put a link down in the description box so you could head over to the store and grab that up. Remember, they are limited, so when they're gone, they're gone. But make sure to check out the other stuff. There isn't just kits in the store. I have paper and dies and Copic markers in case you need those, and a bunch of other things. And this die right here that I used on the card is also in the store right now. So I hope you had fun coloring with me today, and I'll see you next time. Remember, if you have a question, leave me a comment, and I'll get back to you. Have a great day. Bye. bye.